You use the term sacred words, sacred language. Your language in the message, I don't think you'd call it sacred. I'm thinking like a verse like Matthew 6:34. Concentrate on what God is doing right now. I mean, it doesn't get any plainer than that. How do you still know that these are inspired by God? That this is still the ideas of God coming through when it gets through that many levels of modernizing?
Well, you have to be very careful. The kind of principle I had in my mind as I did this is when people read Isaiah in the Hebrew times, they didn't need a dictionary to find out what he said. They didn't need a handbook to explain things. When people read the Gospel of John in New Testament times, they didn't have to have a teacher. They didn't have to have anybody explain this. So if the language at that point was understandable without a lot of learning, I think we can do that again. I don't want to oversimplify this, but all language is sacred. Language is a gift of God. Language is what distinguishes us from all the other plant, animal life on the planet. And when that begins to be experienced as revelation, as love, as forgiveness, there's something going on there that's very close to, well, it's not close to, it is the Spirit of God. So yes, it is inspired.
So these are conversations inspired by the Spirit of God that teach me.
Yes.
Tell me what they teach. What do these ancient stories of people's experience teach me?
They teach you that God is present in your life, that God speaks words which make you who you are. God speaks words that change who you are, deal with your sin, your guilt, whatever your doubts.
Here at Peterson's home in rural Montana, God's presence does seem close. And it's been very deliberate for Eugene and his wife Jan to cultivate that. 11 million copies of his Bible have been sold, over 30 other books written. But he's never employed any staff to help. In this first TV interview he's ever granted, he explains that busyness and technology needs to be kept at bay so the voice of God can be connected with.
Number one, turn off the television. You told me that the average person in Canada watches 21 hours of television. Number two, do some memorizing. Memorizing is the easiest way to keep something important in your mind in a meditative way. The Bible is a story. Now some people say, well, it's a lot of things. It's poetry, it's sermons, it's genealogies, it's proverbs. No, it's a story. Now, Jesus is the story complete.
And you wanted people to get to know the story of Jesus.
Yeah.
Why? Why? Why was that important to you?
See, what I was hoping to do in translating the message was to get people into the story. I tell people, don't study the Bible. Read it. Read it like you're reading a letter. Read it like you're reading a novel. Let the truth of the book shape your life. But don't ask too many questions. You're not looking for information. You're looking for a relationship. So if we can get past the religious patina that's been put over everything, we become more human and more Christian at the same time. Or maybe I should say more human and more saved at exactly the same time. Save is a big word for us. Do you know what the word means in Hebrew? It means space. Give us space. Salvation is a prairie. All the fences are down. All the doors are opened. Salvation is entering into largeness, God's largeness. And I love that word. If we stay with this, if we pay attention to what's going on, stay with this book, stay with these words, there's no way in which we can not eventually get caught into the conversation, brought into the conversation. And that's what we're doing. And that's why we have these Bibles all over the world.